Now that we know what Dart is, and that we use the Dart language to create great Flutter mobile applications for Android and iOS, we can start with the basics of the Dart language. But before we do that, let's just have a quick look at the IDE and tools that we will use to start with Dart coding. So if you go to the website dart.dev/tools, you'll get to this site with tools right at the top, and it gives you Flutter web app and so forth, general purpose tools like DartPad, IDEs and editors, and command line tools. So let's look at the first one there, DartPad. DartPad is a great no download required way to learn Dart syntax and to experiment with Dart language features. It supports the core libraries except for virtual machine libraries such as Dart.io. And then we've got some IDEs and editors. We've got Android Studio, we've got Visual Studio Code, IntelliJ IDEA, and then there's also Dart plugins for Eclipse and Emacs and Vim. So at this stage, we're going to start off with DartPad. So we're going to start off with DartPad and look at DartPad to look at some of the basics of the coding of Dart. And then later on, we will move over to Visual Studio Code. And then when we are totally done with Dart, we will move to Flutter. We will look at Android Studio alongside Visual Studio Code. But for now, we will start only with DartPad. So let's open up DartPad by just saying dartpad.dev. And in some cases, you will find that some previous coding that you've tried out is actually displaying here. And then that's where we can go to our very first option on the DartPad website, which is a new pad. And you're going to say OK there, and you're going to choose Dart. So you can see Flutter is also available, but we will work with Dart for now. You can also include the HTML if you want to create some Dart code for HTML, but we're going to stick at normal Dart. And then you're going to say create, and you can see it creates a totally new pad for you. Now the next option there is reset. So that is when I have done something here and I can't remember where's the fault that I made maybe, and I want to go back to the original one, basically reset it back to where we started. But just be reminded that it basically deletes everything that you've done and bring it back to where we started. Okay, and then we've got format. So for example, let's say you've typed something and it's not nicely formatted like there. And if I click on format, you can see that it indents my code a bit, so it's easily readable now. So you can use format as well. Install SDK. Well, you can use install SDK later on when we're going to use Dart in the IDEs. But for now, you can leave out install SDK. So you can play around with new pad, reset, format. And then if you go to the right hand side, you can see there's some samples. There's some Hello World sample, there's mixins, Fibonacci, and then you can see these ones are Flutter examples. So there's just some sample Dart pads. For example, if I click on Hello World, it will print out hello 4 times. Okay, so just some samples. And then if you go to the 3 dots there, you will see there's some links to share your coding with somebody else. There's DartPad on GitHub. If you want to dig a bit deeper into DartPad itself, there's dart.dev, which goes to the Dart development. Let's click on that one quickly. You can see there's Dart, the Dart website, where you can get the full documentation of the Dart language. And you've got the same for Flutter also. If I click on flutter.dev there, it's going to take me to the Flutter website where I can get all the needed documentation for Flutter. Now, one thing that I want to focus a bit on is the share option here. So if you click on share, it takes you to a sharing guide, and it tells you that DartPad uses GitHub guests. So what is a guest? Let's just quickly search that. So a guest is an easy method to share snippets or excerpts of data with others. A guest can be a string of code, a bash script, or some other small piece of data. These bits of information are hosted by GitHub as a repository. Not only are they free to create, but they're also easy to create. So just in short, what is these guests that they're talking about here? So DartPad uses GitHub guests to publicly share your creations. DartPad looks for these 3 files, main.dart, index.html, and it's optional. You can see these 2 are optional. If you're creating an HTML DartPad, then you'll need index.html and style CSS. But we will keep it only requiring basically main.dart. To share your code with others, create a guest with main.dart and direct DartPad to the guest. So let's quickly see if we can do this. So if you go to guests there and you click on it, so now you can see it opens up GitHub guest. It's got sign in and sign up on the right hand side, and it shows me some public guests that's currently been shared by some other people. So the first thing that you'll need to do is to go and sign up if you do not have a GitHub account, and go and create your account. I'm not going to go through the steps here. You can go and create your own GitHub account. But if you already have your GitHub account, you can just sign in here. Okay, so then you can sign in. And still it shows all the public guests. But now I can go into my own account and say your guests. And you can see there I will have a list of all the guests that I have created here. So I can also create a new one. And this is what I want you to take from this, is that you can actually share your code on DartPad with somebody else. So let me just open up DartPad again here. So it's going to be dartpad.dev. Let's create a new pad. And let's say you want to share this code. I'm just going to use a simple comment there. This is my code. Just to see that it's the correct one and it's not a demo. So I'm going to take all the coding I did here. And so let's say you've done something very nice and it's a long piece of code here. But somewhere you've got an error and you need to show this to somebody to maybe help you with it. Or maybe you've got something great and you want to share it with the world. So I've copied that. So you can just right click and copy, or Control C, Command C. Control C on Windows, Command C on Mac. So if you go then back, you can create a new guest by using the plus sign there. Now the description is, you can just say my demo code or whatever. Just give a nice description of your code. And the file name is important here. It must be main.dart. And then you can play around with the spaces or tabs, and how many spaces, and wrap or not wrap. And then I'm going to paste my coding there. So you can right click and paste, or Control V or Command V on a Mac. So there I've pasted it, and you can see then there's an option to save this as a secret guest or a public one. So at this stage I'm going to keep it as a secret one. So secret guests are hidden by search engines but visible to anyone you give the URL to. Public guests are visible to everyone. Okay, so we're going to keep it as a secret one, and I'm going to create it. Now you can see this one has been created. So if I go to your guests there again, you will see there's the one created now. My demo code, there it is. I can then click on it, and you can see there's a unique URL that I've got there at the top, and we'll need that to get to this coding again. You can also see that I can delete the guest here, I can edit it, I can embed it, I can share it, I can clone it. I can even download the file, the main.dart file, and use it in my coding, maybe in Visual Studio Code or wherever you want to use it. Right, so let's see what we can do with this now. So there you can see in my URL at the top, that last part there, you can see it basically guest.github.com, your username, and then that part is the important part. So I'm going to copy the last part after my username, and the only thing you need to do is to go and say dartpad.dev and then a / and that code of yours. And that you can share now to anyone. That link there you can share to anyone, and it will open up this exact same page. It will open up this page with "this is my code." And you know, even if I go to my previous code and I delete this, it's got nothing to do with my guest. It won't change on this side. So it's whatever you typed in this one. So if you want to edit it, you need to go and edit it directly in here. So this is then a nice way for you to share your code. So I would then share this link that says dartpad.dev with that last part pasted into it. And then this link is the one I can share with everyone to get to this DartPad, and they can just click on run to see the execution of it. Quite nice, I would say. Right, and then the last thing that we quickly have a look at for this DartPad is if I delete everything here and I click on run, you will see that it says that there's no main method found. So very important to realize here before we start with anything. Let me just go to a new pad again. Before we start with any coding, this part is so important. The void main with the opening bracket and the closing bracket. Our coding for all and everything we will do will be between these two brackets. Why? Because Dart needs a main method in order to run your code. So it's very important that your main method must always be there, and then you can start typing your coding in there. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.